After listening to the beautiful poetry of Osho, it is very difficult to add something more to his poetical explanation on what is meditation. But I have the feeling to complement always a certain kind of commentary so that the poetry can be more explained in detail. So Osho, and I think all enlightened masters, must be talking the whole life about only two issues. One is, of course, consciousness, and the other one is the mind. And I'm sure that the masters may like to talk much about the mind, but it is required because it is precisely the mind that becomes the barrier to go deeper into meditation. Hence, they need to spend tons and tons of hours describing what are those barriers, those blocks, those fears, and those emotional addictions that don't allow us to meditate. Hence, in Osho's spoken literature, we can find maybe two kinds of discourses. One are the one which are basically talking about meditation, very deep understanding on Zazen and different rishis and masters from India and Nepal. But there is also thousands of discourses where he keeps repeating and repeating what is the mind, what is conditioning, what is fear, what are prejudices. And for that, I would like to add to his definition that for Osho, the mind has not the same definition, for example, as Buddhists do. For Osho, the mind is divided into three parts. So he says the human being has a body, has mind, have heart, and have the being. So the body is there. It is very clear that we are body. We can feel it. If it's healthy, we don't feel it. If it's sick, we feel it. But somehow it is very clear that we are identified with the body. So we are the body. The mind, we don't see it, but this radio, which is there always talking, disturbing, commenting, judging. And we have also emotions. We have another part of the mind that expresses itself through emotions, fears, all kinds of emotional energy that block us. And then we have the fourth, and the fourth is the being, our soul. But the aim and goal of meditation is to be in this fourth space of the being. But unfortunately, we cannot reach there because there are the other layers that are avoiding us to go into this deep state of being. A child is born. When a child is born, he comes with the body and he comes with the soul, but the mind is not still there. So hence the child experiences so much joy and happiness, and that is the attraction that we have towards babies and little child. But as the child grows, start catching from the mother, for example, start catching feelings, emotions. If the mother is sad, immediately the child will become sad too. If the mother is happy, the child will become happy. So the child becomes like a sponge which is absorbing from the outside anything that he perceives as energy, either in an emotional field, either in the mental field. So the child grows and is catching from the outside all kinds of things that he cannot integrate. So he starts putting those things into a space which is part of the mind, which is the subconscious mind. So the child keeps growing, and go to kindergarten, go to school, go to university. One day he has a job. And this process of absorbing like a sponge feelings, conditionings, ideals, religious belief, anything for many, many years has been absorbed into that part of the mind, which immediately will get stored in that subconscious mind. So Osho says that the mind has three parts. One is 10%, which is like the conscious mind, that is the think we are. So now I am awake, I am talking here with you, and this is my conscious mind, my little 10% that is awake. But like an iceberg, underneath the water, there is a big amount of surface, of a space, which is this subconscious mind. And it is in this space where all the feelings, fears, prejudices, belief, identification has been thrown there, and we have forgotten. We have forgotten about those things. And the third part of the unconscious is still much deeper, which is the unconscious mind, which is the mind that comes through other past life. So the child is born already also with this unconscious collective mind that will manifest in his life as basic fears of survival. So a child also, besides his joy of being a child, is afraid and cries desperately, sometimes because he feels those fears of survival that are coming from the deep unconscious mind. So I have been exposing these three parts of the mind to simply show you that this mind, when the master talks about the mind, he is not referring only to the cognitive part, let's say your brain, your neurons, or your capacity to memorize, or your knowledge, but the concept mind for Osho or for Baba is this big iceberg of which only you know of yourself only a very tiny part. So all men's suffering, everything that disturbs us and don't allow us to be simply quiet, relaxed, and ready to move into this fourth space of the being, all this is because of the presence of the mind. Hence, we cannot reach the fourth, we cannot enter into our being. In other words, we cannot meditate unless the mind is removed. Like an onion is peeled, layers and layers and layers of unveiled things that are revealed by life itself. Memories, wounds, emotional movies from the past. So this process of cleaning the mind Osho work and develop by that Western technique called spiritual psychotherapy. And spiritual psychotherapy has nothing to do with Freudian therapy of psychology. It is a process, a very beautiful process that happens in a group. So the group can be 3, can be 30, but it's a group. And in that group, there is a coordinator, Mero Sadhana, me, in which I propose to talk about different aspects of that subconscious mind. Many kinds of issues that the human being us, we have been repressing for a long time, from childhood. And as the group start talking about these issues, the brave one, basically me at the beginning who speak about my own experience, but the brave one who will follow will take the courage to talk about themselves. For example, Osho talks about the family. The family in many cultures, especially in Hindu cultures, are concepts that are almost godly, untouchable. The family is great. The family is many things. Basically, in poor countries, the family is a social security, because poor countries don't have, the state cannot take care of people. So it's the family who is in charge of taking care of people. So the bigger the family, the more members the family have, the more security those members have in case of someone falling sick. Forget, the state will not come to help you at the hospital. Those members of family will come and support you. So hence, it is very difficult to talk about family issues in Eastern countries, where that family is having this role of social security system. But nevertheless, even in the East, as it happened in the West, the family is one of the main sources of neurosis. The most of problems that we have from childhood comes from the family. So talking about that, people will start remembering, exposing their own experiences, and this unconscious, this subconscious, which is very good protected by a certain kind of censorship, start becoming more softer, weaker. And as the group keeps going on, week by week, month by month, the group, the members of the group start developing a trust. I trust the group. I trust my friends. So someone is listening to me. For so many weeks, I have listened to them, and they have been sharing with me so precious and secret things of them that today I will speak about me. I will say, yes, I also suffer in the family, for example. And this is the beginning of spiritual psychotherapy. So as these things are revealed, only exposing them in a very intimate climate. It's not a question to speak in a big group of where the audience is listening, not at all. It must be in a very intimate and protective space where you trust that space. And then only because of this process, the wound comes to the conscious mind. From the subconscious mind emerge, and it's already here. And when it's here, it has to be cleaned up with meditation. And this is the moment where methods of meditation take part. They take part in the process of healing. For example, Kundalini as catharsis, or gibberish as catharsis, or Natara's dancing as catharsis of the famous dynamic meditation, if those feelings are heavy or difficult to accept. Or very soft techniques from the East, like simply Nada Brahma, working with singing bowl, devotion, opening the heart, surrendering, asking for healing, Reiki, healing oneself. And this is the fusion. The spiritual psychotherapy from the West and Osho meditation techniques from the East. And both together becomes a tool that has only one goal, which is the fourth. So as this subconscious space is emptied and emptied, see it as if you have in your home a basement. And since childhood, each time you find something, an emotion, mommy is not there, you are afraid, or your brother or sister hit you as a child, you are crying. Every time you find a certain kind of feeling, anger, that disturbs you, you simply put into this basement. So this basement has been filled and filled for so many years that the process is to undo what you yourself somehow did, because in meditation one of the most important laws to grow is to take responsibility that only you is responsible for whatever is there. Difficult to accept, because one thinks, oh, but my brother, my father, my mother, they really were okay. But if you don't accept the responsibility that this is because you identify with it, then you cannot heal. So in mero sadhana, we learn all these skills in a very slow process of week by week, month by month, year by year. We are learning the art of meditation, which is very, very vast. And there is nothing really more beautiful than knowing yourself. So this process in all its completeness, even though sometimes may be hard and difficult to accept those fears, emerging up is one of the most beautiful processes a human being can have. To free yourself from those emotional addictions and fears that don't allow you simply to meditate, to go to the being, to the fourth. Namaste.